All right. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. James Donaldson, Standing Above the Crowd podcast here from Seattle, Washington. Beautiful, beautiful Seattle, Washington. This whole week has just been gorgeous. Blue skies as far as you can see kind of weather. And it's a great, the Seattle Seahawks just had a big parade downtown Seattle last night, yesterday afternoon. Hundreds of thousands of people just parading and so happy. So we've got reason to celebrate, and you do too. We all do. So anyway, hey, James Donaldson, Standing Above the Crowd podcast, coming to you live from Rainier Avenue Radio, right here in beautiful, as I say, beautiful downtown Seattle. I am James, and I am the executive director for Your Gift of Life Foundation. You can see my little logo behind there with my website, yourgiftoflife.org. If you want to reach out and say hi or check out the work that I'm doing for mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Hey, we're good to go today, and I'm going solo today. You know, usually I have guests 95% of the time, but every once in a while I like to just take it on my own and say, you know, I devour so much information with the work that I'm doing with the mental health space. And I thought that, you know, it'd be a good time to share with you all some of the things that I've been studying and uncovering and following. And, you know it or not, whether you know it or not, we are in another epidemic of sorts with mental health crises. You know, we went through the big pandemic back 2020 through 2024, 25. With the COVID and the vaccines and the controversies and all just the craziness around all of that. It changed and uprooted all of our lives. But, you know, out of that, a lot of us were still pretty affected, especially our young people. You know, they just really didn't know how to deal with the ups and downs that came with all that, being isolated, being shut out of school, shut out of churches, having to wear a mask. And it was just a tough time for so many people, missing school for a year or two. It really disrupted all of their lives as well. We grown-ups, you know, we've been through some ups and downs before. So, you know, we kind of knew we'd get through it if we just hung in there, did what we had to do, took care of ourselves, took the vaccines as recommended and as needed. And here we are still. 5 years later, 6 years later. Today, you know, one of the things that came out back in 2023 was a great report put out by the U.S. Surgeon General for the United States about loneliness, the epidemic of loneliness and isolation now being our biggest mental health crises. You know, we live in a time right now where we are more connected than ever before. You know, we've got friends on Facebook and Instagram and X and all the other social media platforms. All of us got a microphone and a phone, and we can be influencers of sort and have a little following. So we're more connected than ever before. But at the same time, we are more lonely and more disconnected, ironically, than ever before as well. Why is that? You know, well, a lot of it has to do with us humans are just by nature social creatures. We need to be with each other. Back in the old caveman days, you know, families just huddled up in a big old pile to stay warm. And then they found out they can put some bearskin clothing on and help the warmth. But hey, when they're in those caves and the ice is forming outside, they had to stay warm finally discovered fires and keep us warm. So we've been social from the beginning. We had to be to survive and get this far. And that's a good thing. But it's inherent now. It's part of our makeup, part of our DNA. Those who go and try to go about life all by themselves find themselves very, a little dysfunctional, a little bit isolated from what's going on. We have this real big need to be included. All of us hate to be excluded. And I think we know what that feels like when we're excluded from time to time. So to be included is a big social need of ours. And so that's why this whole issue of loneliness and isolation really strikes me because, I went through my own, I think it's well chronicled, bouts of mental health challenges and anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, and the whole works. I had the whole plan planned out and everything else. Worked my way through all of that. But since then, my life is pretty much back on track. But I still have some voids in there, I'm no longer a business owner like I used to be. No longer a homeowner like I lost my home I had for 40 years in foreclosure. No longer have a hefty, healthy nest egg sitting in the bank waiting for me. No longer have a marriage, so I'm no longer, a stepdad or a husband. All of those things fell by the wayside and have yet to come back. And so I still have these voids in my life that I'm trying to fill and trying to stay busy. I did find a new purpose, another purpose, besides all those things I mentioned, which was, okay, now I can be a voice and an advocate for mental health awareness, suicide prevention, since I personally went through it. So I know what that's all about. And that's why I started up Your Gift of Life Foundation. That's why I speak the way I speak, and I talk as much as I can to groups and students all over the place, really reminding them that mental health is a real, real deal that we have to take care of just as much as our physical health. Some of the things I do before we dig into our little program here today, some of the things I do is just really try to force myself to be social. It's so easy. I think we all learned during COVID shutdowns the aspect of Zoom, virtual. And we could just be at home and on our computer, and we can work from home, and we could, not have to deal with anybody, not have to make ourselves up, put ourselves together to get out there in the real world anymore. A lot of that still lingers on, and I think people have kind of lost the ability to, to communicate, to look each other in the eye and talk and have that feeling, that connection that we used to have. So I force myself. I have I'd say 4 standing meetings every single week with various groups of people. Starting with my church. My church family is very, very important to me. I've known these folks for 40 plus years. We all kind of grew up together, like-minded, like-hearted. We care about each other. We check in on each other. That feels good to have that in my life every single Sunday morning. I look forward to it. Another is my Rotary group. I belong to the Kent Sunrise Club Rotary. Every Tuesday morning for breakfast, a dozen, 15 of us get together. We have breakfast. We talk about different events, different community things. We've all become friends. We look forward to seeing each other. And so that's my Sunday. That's my Tuesday. And then also on Thursdays, I get together with a group of guys, my men's group, I call it, the Renton 21 group guys. Matter of fact, they gave me a nice fleece today, so this was really great. My Renton 21 club. A bunch of guys that grew up in Renton, high school. They went through elementary, junior high, high school all together. Now all of them are, in a little bit older than me. All of them are in their 80s now, 70s, 80s, thereabouts. And we talk about things that matter. We don't talk like we did. This is how guys are when we're young. We talk about sports, women, money, fast cars. Those are things we talk about. When we get older, like we are now. Now we talk about things that matter. We talk about each other's health and checking in on each other because all of us are having health issues. We talk about current events. We talk about politics. We talk about the state of Washington that we all live in. We talk about our mortality, even that we realize now we won't be here forever, and that we need to be here with each other as much as we can. So that's my little Thursday morning breakfast group. And I meet them also once a month for lunch up in Renton, the Renton 21 Club, great group of guys. And then on Saturdays, I have another group of guys I get together with up in Seattle for Saturday morning breakfast. We've done this for years, and there's about half a dozen of us, and the same thing, the guys getting together, guys especially, because we tend to be, so wolves, lone wolves out there doing our own thing, thinking that we can handle this thing called life all by ourselves, but we can't. We need each other so much, and we just have to. And so that's what I do. I push myself to be part of these groups every week. That's four big meetings that I spend a couple hours each at. And then throughout the rest of the week, I'm at the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, another social aspect of me. And so I'm out there, and I'm kind of an affable guy. I talk to people, I say hi, I'll initiate the conversation, just to get it going. And 99.9% of the time it's returned in a very positive way. People don't, they're not rude to you if you're not rude to them. And so I wanted to jump into this thing called loneliness today. And like I said, the U.S. Surgeon General put out a great report, 2023. You can look it up. Just Google our epidemic and loneliness, our epidemic of loneliness and isolation from the U.S. Surgeon General. About 82 pages. It's pretty jam-packed. 2023 it came out. And so let's understand this thing called loneliness and isolation. I got my little printout here, but you guys, you can go along with us if you need to. I don't know, Daniel, we do have slides. I don't know if we can pop those up on the screen or not. What do you think? Daniel's the producer. Okay, there we go. There's our epidemic of loneliness and isolation report. So that is something that I urge all you guys to take a look at. Let's go to our second slide there, Daniel. Understanding loneliness and isolation. Loneliness impacts both the mental and the physical health. Did you know that? In studying this stuff, I didn't know it affected your physical health as well. But yes, the stress levels, the isolation, the cortisone hormones that get shot around your system. Social isolation differs from loneliness, social isolation, but it's related, okay? Technology alters modern social interactions significantly. Technology, social media. I got almost 5,000 friends on Facebook. I probably know less than 50 of them personally. But, they all seem to know me. I seem to know them all or interact with them all. It's okay. It's not the real deal. But, hey, when we get together in person, it's so much better for you and for everybody. Changing societal norms influence connections and friendships. So the way we, society changes from time to time. We got to go along with that. But still, inherently, we still need each other so much more than anybody really realizes. Efforts needed to rebuild community and support systems. So we need more and more efforts to rebuild that system that we have. Let's go ahead to our next slide here, Daniel. We keep on flying through this here. The impacts of social disconnection. Well, you know how it is sitting back home alone. I tell you, man, my social life, if I don't work at it, it's not happening. I could sit home for 2 or 3 days in a row, and the phone does not ring. Yeah, I'll get some spam callers or spam texts and things, but from somebody who's thinking about me and caring about me, the phone does not ring. And so I reach out, and I tell my friends, I say, hey, I'm not a texty kind of guy, texter. I am a phone guy. And you want to talk to me, don't text me, because I'm not going to respond to a text. especially if it's a conversational kind of thing you're going. If you just, send me a little bit of information, that's okay. But if you want a conversation, call me. All right. I always pick up the phone. And I'm not one of those guys that looks at the caller ID and said, oh, wow, it's him or it's her. And I'm not picking that up. No, I'm picking it up. You want to talk to me anytime, give me a call. That's the best way. And it's good for all of us to have that because, with a voice, see, I can hear your inflection. I can sense if you're happy. I can sense if you're sad. I can sense if something's on your mind. I can sense if you have more to say, but you're having difficulty saying it. You don't get all of that in a text message. This is why a phone call is still so important. So let's look at some of the health impacts of social disconnection. The health impacts of social disconnection are profound and far-reaching, affecting both mental and physical health. Chronic loneliness and isolation can lead to increased risk of depression, anxiety, and cardiovascular disease. Wow. I mean, that's what almost took me out, cardiovascular disease. Big, huge surgeries back in 2015, 2016 that the docs told me, hey, James, you flatlined 2 or 3 times during surgery, and we had to bring you back. I'm like, wow. What caused it? I don't know. We don't know. They think it's some genetic defect I had all along throughout the time from when I was born till now. And it just manifested itself finally at that point of time. But we don't know. But again, taking care of your physical health and your social health and your mental health all goes together. This cardiovascular disease, it's been compared to the health effects of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Okay. This is why it's so important. This is why I really want to share this with you. So underscoring the social disconnection as a significant public health challenge. Furthermore, the lack of social bonds may lead to a higher rate of inflammation and weakened immune response, making individuals more susceptible to illnesses. Addressing these impacts required a coordinated effort to build and maintain social connections within our communities. So this is a very, very important page to realize that, hey, if you're not social, it's taking a toll on your physical health just as well. Next slide, Daniel. The role of social media. We all got these iPhones and all these gadgets and smartphones. Everybody's wearing the little smart rings and smart bracelets now. Data keeps flowing at us all day long. Do we need all that? I don't know, but it's coming. And so, we just need to make sure we take care of our health first and foremost. So the role of social media, it facilitates instant global communication and increasing connectivity. But like I said, we're more connected than ever before, but at the same time, we are more disconnected. So keep that in mind. Social media can exacerbate feelings of loneliness and isolation. All those friends you think you have on social media, you're still lonely, you're still isolated. That's not good. It encourages virtual relationships over personal interactions. We've heard of people falling in love with their chatbots now, with their chat GPT, with their whatever AI, actually falling in love with this thing. And no, people, when's the last time you had a good hug from somebody? All right. When's the last time somebody put a big old planted kiss on you and just held you for a few seconds? Doesn't that feel good? Come on. This is what it's all about. Social media also is a platform that can spread awareness and support networks. So it does have some good. And it can also balance between online and offline connection, which is very crucial. So social media does have a good place, but it depends on how we use it. It's just like any other tool, how we use it. So next slide. Go ahead, Daniel. Changes in societal norms. Some of these changes that have come about, especially in the last 20 years. So there's a great book that came out 2024 called the anxious generation. And this is all about the advent of the smartphone that came out in 2008. This was the beginning of the end. Okay. This was the beginning of when a child went from having a play-based childhood, like I had, like you all had, from a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood. You've seen parents put a little iPad in the crib with the kid, and that little iPad keeps that kid occupied all day long. Okay, they're no longer out running and jumping and playing like we used to do. Getting that fresh air, going for hikes, swimming in the neighborhood lake, up and down creeks. No, kids don't do that anymore because now they have a phone-based childhood, and that's been very, very detrimental. So our changes in societal norms are, in recent decades, societal norms have shifted significantly, transforming how we interact and connect with one another. Urbanization, increased mobility, the rise of digital communication have redefined social interactions, often leading to greater disconnections and solitude. So all of those good things that technology brings, it also brings some not so good things. Traditional communal practices and face-to-face interactions have been replaced by virtual connections, contributing to the growing epidemic of loneliness. Whew. As community bonds weaken, the importance of understanding and addressing these changing norms becomes crucial in tackling the challenges of isolation and fostering healthier social connections. So, society's changing, but we are still people, and we are still wired a certain way to be able to have that social interaction, to rely on each other, to depend on each other, as we always have. Next slide, Daniel, please. Some of the root causes and solutions are lack of community engagement prevents connection. So you've got to be engaged. Like I talked about, my little get-togethers 3 or 4 or 5 days a week. You've got to be engaged. Some days I tell myself, I need to just go down and sit in the coffee shop, just to get out of the house, because I work from home, and I'm here at the house all by myself. I need to get out of here. I got my little dog here, but hey, she's good for some things, but she's not going to talk to me. She's not going to hold me and hug me. I need to get out and see some interaction between people. And just sitting at a coffee shop, I can do that. Sometimes people talk to me. Sometimes I talk to them. Or sometimes I'm just sitting there watching people, being a people watcher. And that's a good thing. Some other things that we can think about is digital interactions replacing genuine human contact. And that's been happening in a big way. Social norms shifting towards individualism. Mental health issues exacerbating loneliness. Implementing initiatives for community bonding is something that we all need to do. Next slide, Daniel. Community ties and support. In an era marked with increasing loneliness and isolation, fostering community ties and support networks is essential for combating these trends. Strong community bonds can provide individuals with a sense of belonging and purpose. There you go. Okay? Which are crucial for mental and emotional well-being. By encouraging social interaction through community events and initiatives, we can help build resilient networks that support individuals during challenging times, creating opportunities for engagement, whether through local gatherings, volunteer efforts, support groups, can mitigate the impacts of loneliness by reinforcing human connections and solidarity. Next slide, Daniel. Thank you. So all these things that we're talking about is very, very important. And, I don't want anybody to think that, they got it all handled, that this is normal to be by myself, that I can't find anybody out there, come on. If you've given up, of course, you're not going to find it. It's not going to just pop up on your front door. You have to keep on putting yourself out there and trying, being proactive, in order to make this life happen. Life's going to happen one way or the other, with or without you. It's going to keep on going. But you might as well make this life that you have as prosperous and as wonderful as you possibly can. Some public health initiatives that are underway right now. Promoting community engagement and social programs. You can find this in various cities, in different clubs, different government programs that are out there already. So just look up your public health initiatives. Enhancing mental health support services access. Encouraging partnerships with local organizations. Raising awareness through educational campaigns. Implementing policies fostering social connectivity. And so these are all things that I want to make sure that I stress to you. I talked about this thing called loneliness. I'm on my own. I'm alone, but I don't want to sit here and do nothing about it. So I'm very active in my community. I volunteer. I join several different groups. I've got a lot of friends that I stay engaged with. If they don't pick up the phone and call me, I call them, and I stay on top of that kind of thing. That is good for my mental health. One day I'll get all those other pieces of the puzzle back in place. I'll become a homeowner again. I'll get my little nest egg together again. I do a business now. My Gift of Life Foundation is a nonprofit 501c3, but a brick and mortar business, I don't know. This is good enough right now. And I'm going to find that love of my life again. Okay. But that's because I'm being proactive and making it happen. I want you to be proactive and make it happen just as well. Hey guys, this is James Donaldson, sharing with you a lot of great, helpful information that makes your life even better than it is. All right. You can do it. You can do it. Just do it, like Nike tells us. You can make it happen. I want to see you again next week, okay, with some more fantastic content that I keep coming up with and sharing with you each and every week. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you all again next week. James Donaldson signing off, Standing Above the Crowd podcast. See you guys. Bye-bye.